Here we go. Oh. Hello, Mr. Doggett.
Hello, Judge.
Is that Miss Wilkinson there with you?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Miss Wilkinson, please raise your right hand to be sworn.
Oops,
Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Doggett, you may proceed.
Please say your name for the record.
Linda Brock Wilkinson.
And how did you know Ronald Allen Brock?
He's my son.
And your son passed away on September 5th, 2021 in Fort Bend County, Texas.
Yes.
And at the time of his death, he was residing in Rosenberg, Fort Bend County, Texas.
Yes.
And to your knowledge, he died without revoking his will, which is dated August 25th, 2021.
Yes.
And he didn't have any children born or adopted by him after he executed his will.
That's correct.
At the time he executed his will, he was of sound mind, at least 18 years old.
Yes.
And he didn't have a marriage dissolved after he executed his will.
No.
Did he leave anything to the state of Texas or any charity in his will?
No.
And there's a necessity for administration of his estate, correct?
Yes.
And the will appoints you as the independent executrix.
Yes.
You're not disqualified by law from being appointed as the independent executrix.
No.
Judge, that's all I have.
Oh. All right. Okay, so based upon your testimony, Ms. Wilkinson, I am appointing you as the independent executor without the requirement of a bond. I am admitting your son's will into probate, and you will not have to use an appraiser. The necessity for an appraiser is also waived.
Okay.
All right, you'll get some instructions from the court regarding your role and responsibility as the independent executor, and I'm sure if he hasn't already, Mr. Doggett will go over those instructions with you to make sure you understand everything.
I will.
All right. If there is nothing else, then you are both excused. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Judge.
welcome. All right, bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Mr. Watson, are you there?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Judge. I didn't start the video yet.
There we go.
I was just checking my client to make sure he's on. I don't know yet.
So he is here, but he needs to connect to his device.
He's on. He said he was in a waiting room. His name is Robert.
No, he's here. Like he's here, like in the virtual room with us. There he is.
Is he coming up in a minute?
Yes, he's on the screen.
Oh, I don't see him. That makes sense.
Are you on a laptop or
I'm on a laptop. I see him now. I'm
okay.
fine.
All right, there he is. All right, Mr. Franklin, good afternoon. I just need you to unmute.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right, excellent. And will you please raise your right hand to be sworn?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Watson, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Please state your name and your relationship to Joseph Alfred Roy.
Yes, my name is Robert Franklin, In my relationship, I'm his nephew.
Okay, is Joseph Alfred Roy deceased?
Yes,
And did he die on August the 11th of 2021?
yes,
And do you have a copy of his will, his last will and testament?
yes,
And do you have, you gave us the original of that very document to be submitted to the court along with the application, is that correct?
yes,
So the one that the court has in front of her now is the actual will of Joseph Alfred Roy, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, is his signature the signature that's on the will, do you recommend?
yes,
And is the will self-proven? Does it have the sworn statements of two witnesses attached to it?
yes, it does.
Okay. Let me ask you some other questions about Mr. Roy. Were any children born after the date of signing of the will to Mr. Roy?
No,
And was the will revoked before he died?
no,
And has it been 4 years since he died or less?
no, it has not been 4 years.
Okay. Was Joseph Alfred Roy domiciled in, and did he have a fixed residence at the time of his death in Fort Bend County, Texas?
Yes, he did.
As your attorney's given all the interested parties a copy of the will.
Yes,
Were you named the independent executor in the will, Mr. Franklin?
yes, I was.
Is there any reason you would be disqualified to serve as the executor?
No,
Your Honor, I believe that's all, and we do not request in the present.
Okay, Mr. Franklin, based upon your testimony, I have signed the order admitting your uncle's will to probate and appointing you as the independent executor without the requirement of a bond. I've waived the necessity for an appraiser, and you will get some instructions from the court about your role and obligations as the independent executor. And I'm sure that Mr. Wasson will go over those if you have any questions. Otherwise, if there's nothing else, then you are both excused.
Thank you, Your Honor, very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
you too. You're welcome.
Okay, bye. Hello, Ms. Brush.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm looking for Miss Graham. Oh, there she is. And I don't see Harold.
I've got Mr. Frawley right here in my office, Your Honor.
Okay,
I'm just on your
perfect.
docket twice, so I was waiting to see what came up first.
Oh, okay, yes. First is
Hold on over.
Linda Frawley. Okay, is it Frawley?
Raleigh.
Okay, Mr. Frawley, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, Ms. Graham, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Frawley, would you please state your name for the court?
Harold Raleigh.
And is it true that you filed in good faith an application to be appointed the guardian and community administrator for your wife, Linda Lou Frawley?
Yes.
And when were you and Linda married?
1967.
And is it true that Linda is currently 80 years old?
Yes.
And she lives in Fort Bend County, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is she currently under any other guardianship?
No.
And is it true that you hold a power of attorney for her?
Yes.
And was she served with notice of today's proceedings?
Yes.
And did her children and your children, Kevin, Amy, both file a waiver to today's proceeding?
Yes.
And is it true that Linda is totally and severely incapacitated due to a mental condition?
Yes.
And is it true that her incapacity is due to major depressive order from dementia?
Yes.
Your Honor, we would ask that the court admit the doctor's letter dated May 14th, 2021, which was completed by Dr. Roger Campana.
And that's already in the court's file, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes.
And Mr. Frawley, have you considered other supports and services that would avoid a need for a full guardianship?
Yes.
And on the guardianship of her person, is it true that there's no support or service that would avoid this need?
There is none.
And you've also considered the guardianship of the estate, and you have chosen the least restrictive alternative, which is the community administration.
Yes.
Okay. And is it true that while you haven't really had significant difficulty making medical decisions for your wife, both her physician and her neurologist have recommended a guardianship due to her condition?
Absolutely.
And are you asking the court today to appoint you as guardian of her person and also the community administrator?
Yes.
And is it true you're seeking the right to determine her residence because she's unable to do that?
Yes.
Is it also true that she's unable to make decisions about marriage or to vote or to drive a vehicle?
Yes, definitely.
And does Linda own any assets?
No.
Everything has been accessible to you as far as her finances because you're joint holders of those accounts. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the only reason you've come to the court today to seek the community administration is so that you can do a home equity refinance to pay for her care. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And to your knowledge, Linda, does she own any separate property?
No.
And has she received any gifts or inheritance that could have been separate property?
No.
Is it true that her income and assets were all accrued during your marriage?
Yes.
And did she own anything of substance before your marriage?
No.
Does she receive any monthly income?
Social Security,
Okay, and how much does she receive each month?
$1,030.
And is that enough to cover her expenses?
No.
And how do you pay for her needs?
Out of our joint account.
Okay. To your best of your knowledge, are you qualified to be her guardian?
Yes.
Is there any reason you would be disqualified?
No.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brush, do you have any questions for Mr. Frawley?
Just a few questions, Judge, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Thank you. How you doing, Mr. Frawley?
Fine. Fine.
Good. So do you remember speaking with me? I believe it was on August 12th that we
Yes.
spoke,
Yes.
and that was done via Zoom. Is that right?
Yes.
And when we spoke, your wife, Linda Frawley, she was also available as well, correct?
Yes. No.
And I asked quite a few questions that day. If you remember, we discussed questions related to the guardianship. Is that right?
Yes.
And you were also able to provide me with a virtual tour of the facility or her room where she was at. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Any of those questions that I asked you that day, if I asked those same questions today, would you answer any differently?
I'm not sure what you asked me. No, I think nothing has changed since then.
Okay. And you believe it's your Linda's best interest for you to be appointed as guardian?
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have, Judge.
All right. Anything further, Ms. Graham?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. All right. So based upon the testimony, I find by clear and convincing evidence that Linda Frawley is totally incapacitated and in need of a guardian with full authority over the person, and I'm a community administrator. So I'm appointing Mr. Frawley as the guardian of the person and community administrator. And I'm setting bond at $10. Discharging Mr. Brush as attorney ad litem and granting, I didn't see in the court's file, Mr. Brush, where you had filed anything regarding your fees.
Yes, Judge, I submitted it. It's not showing accepted as of yet.
Okay.
I'm a little late on submitting it, but the total was 800.
Okay. And is that agreed upon as to who will pay that?
Yes, Your Honor, my client will pay it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, then Mr. Frawley and Mr. Brush, you are excused. Ms. Graham, you have another case.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll put you back in the waiting room until we get to your next case.
Okay, thank you,
All right.
Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frawley. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Hello, Ms. Carr.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, let me pull everybody in. I think that should be with you. Mr. Giroudi.
Hello, Judge.
Okay, I think I have. Oh, let's see. Mr. Brown. And I think we're missing, we need Mr. Ralph. Is that who I'm missing? Ed Ralph?
No, I think we're going to do Ernest Jr. Mr. Adams is Ernest. I thought I saw him. Oh no, that was Mr. Ernest Sr. connecting. Well, let me see. Miss Sonia, are you there with your dad? Or well, you're on mute.
I think they're in the same room.
Yeah.
We are.
Okay. Because I thought I saw him on your screen at first. Okay, so we have Sonia, who's the applicant. We have Ernest Adams Jr. Is that the gentleman with Ernest on the screen?
No, it's not his senior.
Okay. Okay, so we're missing Ernest Adams Jr. because I see, is that Mr. Brown, Edward Brown?
Yes, he's probably with my brother.
What's your brother's name?
Ernest Adams Jr.
I don't see, oh, you know what? I see the one Adam. Is that him?
One Adam? Yes, that's
Okay.
that's his avatar name. Yeah.
Okay, got it. I get all kinds of interesting names on my Zoom. Sometimes I can tell who they are. Sometimes I have to put on my detective hat and try to figure it out.
Indeed.
Okay. I think we got him. Yes, there he. Okay, and so that is Ernest Adams Jr., correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so the only one we're missing is Ed Ralph, which you're saying I shouldn't be looking for.
No, we're going to have Mr. Brown is going to be testifying today.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure we had everybody here that we needed. All right. All right. So do we need a record, Ms. Carr?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Sure. Tiffany, are you there?
I'm here and I'm ready, Judge.
All right. We're on the record in cause number 21 CPR 035717, the estate of Elizabeth Levon. Am I saying that correctly? Levon Williams?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And present in the Zoom, our attorney, Siobhan Carr, attorney ad litem, Joseph Giroudi, the applicant, Ms. Sonia Webb Williams, and also Ernest Lee Adams Jr., as well as Ernest Lee Adams Sr. and Mr. Edward Brown. I think I identified everyone. Okay. All right. And so, Ms. Carr, you may proceed. Oh, wait, let me swear everybody in. Sorry. Ms. Williams, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Adams Sr. and Mr. Adams Jr. Please raise your right hands to be sworn.
Into my right hand. I'm sorry. I have a shoulder.
That's all right. I got it. I see it's kind of in a sling. That's fine. Just lift up a finger or something and I got you. All right. Do each of you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ms. Carr, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. We're here on an application for administration as well as an heirship. Could we proceed with the heirship first?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll call our first witness, Mr. Ernest Adams Jr.
That's Mr. Adams Jr. Take yourself off of mute. No, you're good. I just need you to come off of mute so we can hear you. There you go. All right, go ahead, Ms. Carr.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Will you please state your full name for the record?
Ernest Lee Adams Jr.
Okay. And are you well acquainted with the family history of Elizabeth LaVon Williams?
Yes, I am.
And are you related to Miss Williams?
I'm her uncle.
Okay. And how many years did you know Miss Williams?
Her entire life,
And how many
Okay.
years would that be?
19 years.
19 years. And so is it correct that your niece passed away on December 28th, 2018 here in Harris County, Texas, well, in Harris County, Texas at the age of 19?
That is correct.
But at the time of her passing, she resided in Fort Bend County, Texas. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
Okay. Was she married at the time of her death?
No,
Was she ever married?
no,
Did she have any children?
no.
Do you know if she had any children that possibly predeceased her?
No.
Okay.
She did.
She did not have any children that predeceased her, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Did she have any children that she might have adopted or held out to be her children?
No,
Okay. Did the decedent have a will?
no, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And she was survived by her mother and father. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And do you know her mother and father's first and last name?
It's Sonia Webb, and her dad is Ed Williams.
Okay. And they are both still alive, is that correct?
Definitely, yes.
Okay. You mentioned that she did not have a will, is that you know of, correct?
That is correct.
Do you know if the family had an opportunity to look for a will?
I am not aware of that.
Okay. Do you have an interest in this estate?
No,
And were you promised anything for your testimony today?
no.
Okay, I'll pass this witness.
All right, Mr. Giroudi, any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, sir. Could you please state your name for the court?
Ernest Lee Adams Jr.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And what is your relationship to to Elizabeth? If you could restate it for us.
I'm her uncle. She was my niece.
Thank you. Thank you. And so you've pretty much known her all her life, all 19 years. Is that correct?
Definitely, that is
Okay.
correct.
And just want to make sure she was not married. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And she did not have any born to nor adopted children. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
Thank you, sir. And that leaves us with only two heirs, her mother and her father. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, she did not have a last will and testament. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
Thank you, sir. Do you have an interest in this estate?
No, I do not.
Okay. And you were not promised anything in exchange for your testimony today. Is that correct?
That is correct. No promises.
I passed the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
All right, you may call your next witness, Ms. Carr.
Okay, I'd like to call Mr. Edward Brown.
Mr. Brown, if you will unmute.
Okay,
Go ahead, Ms. Carr.
Okay, Mr. Brown, will you please state your full name for the record?
Edward Brown III.
And Mr. Brown, are you well acquainted with the family history of Elizabeth LaVon Williams?
Yes, I am.
And how many years did you know Miss Williams?
I've known her all her life till she passed.
Okay, and would that be 19 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did she pass in Harris County, Texas on December 28th of 2018 at the age of 19?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your relationship to Mrs. Williams? Miss Williams, excuse me.
I'm her great uncle.
You're her great uncle. Okay. And at the time of her passing, did she reside in Fort Bend County, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was she ever married?
No, ma'am, she was never married.
Did she ever have any children?
No, ma'am, no kids.
Did she ever adopt any children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And was she survived by her mother and father?
That is correct.
And who are her mother and father?
Edward Williams and Sonia Webb.
Okay. And do you know if she had a will?
No, I do not know.
Do you know if the family had a chance to look for a will?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do you have an interest in this estate?
No, ma'am, I do not.
And were you promised anything for your testimony today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Giroudi, any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Brown, could you please state your name for the court?
Edward Brown III.
Thank you, sir. And you're well acquainted with Elizabeth, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
And you've known her your entire life, is that correct?
Yes, I've known her whole life until she deceased.
Thank you, sir. And she resided in Fort Bend County, is that correct?
Yes, she resided there, yes.
She resided there, okay. Now, she was never married, is that correct?
That is correct.
And she never had any born to nor adopted children, is that correct?
None whatsoever.
Okay, so that leaves her mother and her father as her sole heirs to your knowledge, is that correct?
Yes, it is. That's correct.
Thank you, sir. Now, she didn't have a will to your knowledge, is that correct? Or,
As far as I know, she did not.
okay, thank you for confirming. And you don't have an interest in this estate, is that correct?
None whatsoever.
Okay, and you were not promised anything in exchange of your testimony today, is that correct?
Nothing whatsoever.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Carr, any other
Thank
witnesses?
you. I have no further questions for this witness.
All right. Any other witnesses?
Your Honor, would you like some testimony regarding the family looking for a will?
Yes, for the airship. Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I'll call Mrs. Sonia Webb.
Yes.
Ms. Webb, will you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, Sonia Marie Webb.
And is Elizabeth Levon Williams was your daughter, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Did she ever discuss drafting a will with you?
No.
Do you know if did she have a will when she passed away?
No, she was going to college. No.
She was going to college. Okay. And if she had a will, would she have told you?
Of course.
Okay. And did the family get a chance to look for a will just in case?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did not find a will?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Giroudi, any questions?
No questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Based upon the testimony of Mr. Adams and Mr. Brown, I find by clear and convincing evidence that the decedent died without a will and that her heirs are Edward David Williams Jr. and Sonia Webb Williams. Mr. Giroudi, you are hereby discharged as the attorney ad litem, and your fees in the amount of $500 are granted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You may. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. And so, Ms. Carr, we will then proceed on the dependent administration.
Yes. Okay. I would like to call Mrs. Sonia Webb.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Webb, will you please state your full name again for the record?
Sure. Sonia Marie Webb.
And do you currently reside in Fort Bend County, Texas?
Yes.
And you're here today seeking the appointment of an administrator for the estate of Elizabeth Levon Williams. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And okay, and you've also were the applicant in the determination of heirship in this matter. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And again, what is your relationship to the decedent?
She was my daughter.
Okay. Did she pass on December 28th of 2018 in Harris County, Texas at the age of 19?
It was 08.
I'm
2008.
Oh, it's 2008?
Yes,
Okay, so excuse me, 2008 at the age of 19?
that's correct.
Okay. And the court has jurisdiction because at the time of her passing, she resided in Fort Bend County. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And was she married at the time of her death?
No,
Was she ever married?
no,
And she didn't have any children, correct?
that is correct.
And you are her mother, and her father is Edward David Williams Jr. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And he has signed a waiver agreeing to an administration in the heirship in this case, and it's currently on file, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you stated before, to the best of your knowledge, she did not have a will when she passed away, correct?
That is correct.
And does a necessity exist for the administration of this estate?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Does a necessity exist for the administration of this estate?
Is there a necessity for it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And is that because there is a need to sign a settlement agreement regarding her passing?
Yes.
Okay. And so there are funds that are due to her estate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And is this a taxable estate?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. And as we discussed today, as we've discussed, and it's still true today, you're qualified by law and not disqualified to serve as administrator of this estate, correct?
That is correct.
And although you're qualified, you're asking the court to appoint your father, Ernest Adams Jr, as the administrator of this estate. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And although we have the consent of all the heirs, being you and her father, it's true that we have been asked for a dependent administration because of the settlement in this estate. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, we would like to request a grant of letters of administration to Ernest Adams with a minimum bond in this matter.
Okay. And I heard something that kind of perked up my ears because it's been more than 8 years. More than 4 years. More than 4 years have elapsed since the death of Miss Williams. And so I want to, so in the order, it states that 4 years have not elapsed. So I need to that needs to be modified to read that 4 years have elapsed since the date of her death. Just want to make sure that doesn't have any impact on the jurisdiction, this court's jurisdiction over this administration.
Yes, Your Honor. And as part of that, we're asking for an administrator as part of the exceptions to the 4 years, being that there are funds that are due to her estate, and there's a settlement agreement that needs to be signed. And so under that exception, we're asking the court to grant an administrator.
What's the amount, if you know, of the settlement?
Mr. Adams or Ms. Webb, are you aware of what the potential amount of that settlement is?
No, I didn't receive an update on that. No, I'm not aware of it.
The last time you spoke to that particular law firm, do you recall what that possible amount was?
Yes, it was right at 404. And they was 440,000.
440,000. Okay.
If I remember right. It's been a while.
And this is a result of a products liability case.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the so the fact that it's been longer than 4 years, I just want to make sure that that's not, that doesn't have some type of negative impact upon the court's jurisdiction or the authority over this case, or if there's anything additional. And I understand that you were saying that you guys were filing this under the exception. I just want to make sure that the court has the appropriate authority to rule regarding the administration.
Yes.
Yes, I do, or yes, you.
Oh, no, yes, I understand, Your Honor. Yeah.
All right, so give me just a second. I'm just going to. So the application has the wrong date on it also.
Okay, yes. So Your Honor, we could, if possible, we could amend and we can hold the order until possibly after we amend with the right date in the posting period.
Yeah, because
and put in there the exceptions.
Right. And here's why I want to make sure it's done correctly, because if somebody comes back and looks and says, oh, well, the application was wrong, the date in the application was wrong, so the order was wrong, so it's not a valid order. I just don't want that to be an issue, particularly because there is a large amount of money at stake here. So we want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted correctly. So because the application has the incorrect date, it doesn't impact the airship matters, but I don't want it to have a negative impact on the administration, because that's the part where that settlement might get messed up. So yeah, let's do an amended application.
Okay.
And then after the requisite amount of time is done, then we'll come back. You don't have to do a whole nother prove up, but just resubmit the order and I'll sign the order at that time.
Okay, thank you. And we'll also in that amended application cite the exceptions.
Yes, please do, so that all of it is on the record in the court's file as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And we will also file an amended order reflecting the language of the application.
That's fine. And because you've done the prove up as it relates to the qualifications for the dependent administrator, we won't have to do this again. Okay. Just bring it to my attention that the amended application has been on file for the requisite amount of time, that the order has been amended to reflect the exception. And I'll sign it whenever all that's ready to go. Okay.
Okay. And because this is going to be a dependent administration, Your Honor, what about the bond amount? Because
oh yes, sorry. Okay. So let me get to the order.
Currently, right now, there are no assets in the estate. The decedent didn't have any assets.
It's just that settlement amount?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. You said that was all right, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $400.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll get
Okay.
that amended application on file this afternoon and get it reposted so you could have everything in queue for the return period.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you.
Thank you,
If
Your
there's
Honor.
nothing else, Ms. Carr and Ms. Williams and Mr. Adams and Mr. Adams and Mr. Brown, you are all excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon. Let's see.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. I think we have everyone.
I think we're missing someone named
No, we
Oh, I'm missing the
Miss-
applicant.
Kendra. Yeah, applicant is only here by phone, Your Honor. I'm not asking her to testify, but there are two disinterested witnesses, and I believe Kendra Colson is missing.
No, Kendra's here.
Okay.
I see her.
Oh, I don't see her.
Mm.
Sorry.
You don't see her? I see her.
I see her now.
And there's another, oh wait, I think I brought someone in that's not supposed to be here. On the LG Stylo. I'll put her back in the waiting.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
So the only one that I see, okay, and you said that Mildred was going to be by phone.
by phone. She is listening on a speakerphone,
Okay.
my phone, and but we will have probably a future administrative hearing, and she's trying to schedule a Zoom with some local attorneys in North Carolina for that.
Okay, so she's not local.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go on the record on this one. Tiffany, ready?
I'm ready, Judge.
All right, we are on the record in cause number 21 CPR 036391, the estate of James Webster Massey. Present on the Zoom is attorney Farha Ahmed, attorney ad litem Kathy Chang, the witness Kendra Colson, and a witness by the name of Colby Ivanhoe. The applicant Mildred Louise Massey is present via speakerphone through her attorney, Miss Ahmed. Okay, and Miss Colson and Mr. Ivanhoe, if you please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear and affirm? Oh wait, both of you are on mute. Hold on. You to unmute.
There we go. I took myself off mute.
Okay, thank you. All right, please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I do.
All right, Miss Ahmed, you may proceed.
All right. Let me start with Mr. Colby Ivanhoe. I wanted to talk to you about the decedent James Webster Massey and how long you've known him. How long did you know him?
For the last about 10 years since we moved into our house, he's been the next door neighbor.
Okay. So, and you're talking about in Fort Bend County, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And would you say that you regularly visited him and kept in touch with him?
Yes,
Okay. And did he have any kids?
not to my knowledge.
Okay. And did you see any children in his house that he may have raised as his children?
No,
Okay. And then was he married?
not to my knowledge.
Okay. Was he living there alone?
Yes,
Okay. And did he ever discuss with you about drafting or having a will?
no,
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, he does not have a will. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay. I have no more questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Chang, any questions for this witness?
Brief question, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Hi, Mr. Ivanhoe, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm the attorney ad litem, and we've previously had an opportunity to go over some of the questions. And I just want to follow up with some questions from the attorney Ahmet. With respect to the decedent, James Webster Massey, during his lifetime, he did not take any children into his home to raise his own, correct?
Correct,
And he did not adopt any kids.
correct, not to my knowledge.
And to the best of your knowledge, did he ever serve in the military overseas?
I believe he was in the Navy, yes.
Okay. And did he ever mention anything about having fathered a child overseas with someone?
No,
So in those 10 plus years that you've known him, how often did you speak to him?
so early on, it was regular. By regular, I mean a couple times a week outside in the yard. And then as his health declined, I would say it was more infrequently, particularly in the last 2 years, considerably less. And it wouldn't, I mean, I could go weeks without hearing from him or seeing him.
But prior to him getting sick, you were in constant contact with him on a regular basis.
Yeah, we pretty much saw each other every day.
Okay. And so as far as you know, with your close contact with the decedent, as far as you know, the only heirs that he had are his surviving mother, Mildred, which is the applicant, and his brother, correct?
Correct.
And are you being paid for your time today, your testimony?
No,
Do you stand to inherit anything from the estate?
no,
Do you owe the estate any money?
no,
Does the estate owe you any money?
no.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Ahmed, do you have any other witnesses?
I do. I wanted to request if Mr. Colby could be dismissed from the hearing. I know he has to get back to work, and I know he's a patient. If that's okay, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Ivanhoe, thank you so much for your time and your testimony. And you are excused.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Your Honor, I'd like to call Kendra Colson as our next witness.
All right.
Hello, Ms.
Hi.
Colson. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for holding on with us. Appreciate it. I wanted to talk to you about, you've been longtime friends with James. Do you know him as James or Webster?
Webb or Webby Webb.
Okay. Okay. And how long had you known him?
Also about 10 years.
Okay. And would you say you met with him frequently or kept in contact with him regularly? What was the relationship in terms of communication?
Yeah, I worked for Harley Davidson, and he would come up there probably 3 or 4 times a week and just hang out and talk.
Okay. Where was that, your Harley Davidson place of work?
In Houston.
Okay. And this is when he was residing in Fort Bend County, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You've always known him to reside in Fort Bend County, is that true?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, did you know if he had any children or raised any children as his own?
No, he did not.
Okay. Did he ever get married?
No.
Okay. Was he living alone in his home in Fort Bend County?
Yes.
Okay. And then you know that he has, you would say the people that have survived in his family are, and the potential heirs are his mother and his brother. Is that correct? David Massey?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know of any other siblings at this time?
No.
Okay. And then did he ever discuss having a will with you?
I mean, maybe he had one, but To my knowledge, no.
Okay, but did he ever discuss one with you? Or let you know of one?
No.
Existed, okay. If he had a will, would you be somebody that he would tell or communicate that to?
I have no idea.
Okay. And you're telling the court now, this time you're not aware of him having any will?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of him having any, like a safety deposit box or a place that he kept important documents?
No, he didn't discuss that.
Okay. I have no more questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Chang, any questions for this witness?
Brief questions, Your Honor. Thank you. Ms. Colson, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am the attorney ad litem who you spoke to previously.
Hey.
How are you doing? Just a couple questions. With respect to Mr. Macy, the decedent, as far as you know from the 10 plus years that you've known him, he's never mentioned anything about potentially fathering someone overseas, correct?
That's correct.
And he's never mentioned any kids, as you testify with Attorney Ahmed.
Correct.
And to the best of your knowledge, and you've spoken to his family members, the Miss Mildred Massey, as well as the brother, correct, after the death?
That's correct.
And as far as you know, that they couldn't find a will.
Correct.
So as far as you're concerned, the decedent passed away without a will.
Yep. Unfortunately.
And the decedent's heirs would be Mildred Massey and Douglas Massey, correct?
Absolutely.
Are you being paid for your time today?
No.
Do you owe the estate any money?
No.
Does the estate owe you any money?
No.
Do you stand to inherit anything from the estate?
No.
Okay. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further, Ms. Ahmed?
No more questions, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So after listening to the testimony, I find by clear and convincing evidence that the decedent's heirs are Mildred Louise Massey and Thomas Douglas Massey. I'm discharging Ms. Chang as the attorney ad litem and granting her fees in the amount of $1,075. And I guess we are going to hold on the administration for a later time.
Yes, Your Honor. I have to actually file it and get all that paperwork together.
Okay. All right. Then we are off the record in this cause number. Ms. Chang and Ms. Ahmed and Ms. Colson, thank you very much for your time. If there's nothing else, then you are all excused.
Right.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Right.
Have a great
Right.
judge.
Wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
There I am.
Let's see.
That's circumstances. Yeah, probably that might be a good one to keep.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Evan shook the Twitter afterwards saying, sorry, big bro, glad that.
Okay. Whoever's got the TV going, can you turn that down? Let's see if I can. Okay, so the young lady on the LG Stylo 4, is she with this case? Because I don't have a name and she's not connected to her audio. So
We are looking, Your Honor, for one more witness. I think it's Stephanie Alcazar.
That's her on the LG Stylo 4.
okay, that is her.
Yes.
Okay. She's got to connect to her audio or she's not going to be able to hear us.
There she is, connecting to audio.
I have all the notes. They're all right here. I have them all. I even have like little instructions on how to connect to your audio. It's everything. Been doing this a long time. Okay. All right. Is it Alcazar? You're on mute.
Yourself.
Okay, Stephanie Alcazar.
Yay. All right. We got everyone. All right. So Miss Alcazar, Miss Ducat. Am I saying that correctly? Ducat? Dugat. And Mr. Harris, please raise your right hands to be sworn. Okay, so each of you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Waldrop, you
Yes,
may
ma'am.
proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Tiffany, we are on the record on this one. I apologize.
No problem. I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Waldrop. Sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, we will call Stephanie, well, I should state my name also, W. Matthew Waldrop for Christopher Harris, applicant, and we call Stephanie Alcazar.
Yes.
Stephanie, how are you today?
I'm great. How about you?
Doing well, thank you. And thank you for coming down by request. Just a few quick questions, if that's okay. Okay, and could you state your full name for the court, please?
Okay, that's fine. Stephanie Lynn Alcazar.
And you're well acquainted with the Harris family, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, for a long time.
And how do you know the Harris family?
Linda and I, Robert's wife, went to school together, grade school. So I've known Linda, Robert's ex-wife, for quite some time. And then I got to meet Robert after they married.
And when Mr. Harris passed, was he married?
No, he wasn't married.
Other than Christopher, who's here today, were any other children born or adopted to Mr. Harris?
No, sir, not that I know of, no.
And to your knowledge, Mr. Harris did not have a will?
No, not to my knowledge.
And Ms. Alcazar, do you have any financial interest in this case?
No, not at all, sir, no.
Pass the witness, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Alcazar.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Ms. McDaniels, any questions for Ms. Alcazar?
Just a couple. We've not had the opportunity to speak until right now, have we?
Okay, no, we haven't.
Okay, then I just have a couple of questions. So he was never married to anyone else other than Miss Ducat, right?
No, not that I know of. Linda and I are friends for quite a while, yes.
Okay, and no other children born or adopted during or after the marriage?
No, ma'am, not that I know of.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Waldrop, you may call your next witness.
Thank you. At this time, Your Honor, we call Linda Ducat.
Yes,
Mr. Ducat, will you state your full name as well, please?
Linda, I own Ducat.
And you are Christopher's mother, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And you were well acquainted also with Mr. Harris. Would you tell the court how?
Yes, he was my ex-husband. He was my husband.
So you knew him very, very well, so to speak. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
When was the last time you spoke with Mr. Harris before he passed?
On the day he passed, September the 2nd, 2013. I spoke with him.
And I apologize, I have to ask the same question, but he was not married at the time of his passing, correct?
No, sir.
And other than Christopher, were any other children born or adopted by Mr. Harris?
No.
And to your knowledge, did Mr. Harris have a will?
No, sir. Not that I know of, no.
Thank you. Do you have any financial interest in the outcome of this case?
No, sir.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. McDaniels, any questions for Ms. Dugat?
Ms. Dugat, other than you, as far as you know, your ex-husband was never married to anyone else. Correct?
That's correct. Yes. That's
okay.
Right.
And while y'all were together, there was no will that you're aware of, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
No will.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Waldrop, do you have any other witnesses?
We have Christopher Harris, but a quick housekeeping, Your Honor. When we filed this, I don't know if the court's aware because it was a while ago, we had a contestant and then we had a declaratory judgment. So we filed it as an administration, but I might request the guidance from the court on this. We may not need, since he's the sole heir, an actual administration. And I can prove it up however it please the court to that end.
Even if he were the only heir, we'd still need to appoint or designate someone so that the estate can be properly administered. So I would say go forward still with the administration, just so that if anything needs to be distributed, then we've identified who's going to do that.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure.
So at this time, applicant calls himself Christopher Wayne Harris.
Yes, sir.
Would you state your full, Chris, how are you? It's been a while.
Well, it's been a while. Yes.
It's good to see you.
You too. Thank you. Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Would you state your full name for the court?
Christopher Wayne Harris.
And Robert Harris Jr. was your father, correct?
Correct.
Safe to say you were well acquainted.
Yes.
And did Mr. Harris pass away September 2nd, 2013 in Harris County?
Yes, he did.
But his place of residence and domicile at the time of his death was Fort Bend County, correct?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, did he have a will?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Do you believe there is a necessity for administration of this estate?
I do, yes.
Was he ever divorced, Mr. Harris?
From my mother.
And that would be Mrs. Ducat.
Mrs. Ducat, yes.
And so at the time of his death, he was not married, correct?
Correct.
And you have requested that this court appoint you as administrator. Are you qualified to serve as administrator and to accept your letters of administration from this court?
I am, yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Pass a witness.
Well, you won't have any questions for this witness, would you, Ms. McDaniel?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Anything further, Mr. Waldrop, before I make my findings?
No, Your Honor. Just ask the court to take judicial notice of the declaratory judgment with contestant Felicia Samir.
Okay. And so that contest, was it resolved, or was there an agreement that was made?
It was resolved, and this court issued a declaratory judgment that she was not the wife of Robert Harris Jr.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Thank you. Was that before me? Because I don't remember doing that.
No, it was not before you. It was just before this court.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's like, I don't remember. I want to make sure that was done. Okay. All right. Okay. So after hearing the testimony of Ms. Alcazar, Ms. Dugat, and Mr. Harris, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the decedent's heir is Christopher Wayne Harris. I'm discharging Mrs. McDaniel as the attorney ad litem, and I didn't see your fee report. Did I miss that?
I think we turned it in quite a while ago.
I
Judge.
see it.
You got it? Okay.
I see it. I see it.
Probably should have been for a little bit more since this took so many resets, but that's okay.
Let's see. Let's see.
I believe it's for 700.
I do see.
Carolyn, thank you.
You're welcome.
I see an amended. I see an amended report, but I don't see. Hold on, let me go back through and let me see. Oh, wait, no.
In our amended report, we had an issue with putting a wrong person in as the administrator, so we had to fix that today.
See, I paid a portion of it. I paid $329.06 back in 2019. Did you file something since then?
Honestly, Judge, I don't remember because it's, with the COVID and everything going on, I honestly don't remember.
I see that you have a report that was filed in October. It was like last week, but I don't see an additional fee. Like I said, I paid like $329 back in March of 2019.
Okay.
But I don't see another. I don't see another payment since March 7th of 2019 was the last fee.
Okay, my legal assistant thought that we had filed a subsequent one, but I guess not at this point.
I see an order reinstating you as the ad litem, and that was done in July of 2019. And then there was a second amended application. And then this judgment, and yeah,
But
I see.
previous ad litem, I think, withdrew, and then I was appointed.
Let me see. Yeah, I don't know about prior to you, but I know that there was a motion that was filed back in April to reinstate you as the attorney ad litem. So we signed that order in July of 2019. And then there was a series of amended applications and amended judgments, amended orders that were filed. I see your report and then your amended report from October of this year, but I do not see, even as attachment to the amended reports, I don't see anything regarding your fee after March of 2019. So
Okay, is it too late to file?
No.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, no. I just want to make sure that it's in the court's record so that we pay you the right amount.
Okay, and you said I was paid $329?
$329.07 or something like that. And I'll tell you. Yeah, $329.06. I shorted you a penny.
You froze.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, $329.06 was the amount that was paid March 7th, 2019.
Okay. Okay, Judge, we'll send in a amended one with that taken away from the total amount of 700.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that takes care of the airship portion. And then I am appointing Christopher Wayne Harris as the independent administrator of the estate. I didn't hear any testimony regarding the cost or the value of the estate. Mr. Waldrop, if you know, what is the value of the decedent's estate?
I can question Chris really quickly on that.
Sure. Perfect. Thank you.
Chris, back on it, if that's okay.
Okay.
Tell the court the property that is in your father's estate.
The only thing that I know to my knowledge is there were a couple of vehicles. There is a house that's in his name, which is in his hometown of Luling, Texas, that my aunt currently resides in. And to my knowledge, that's it. That's all that I know at the moment.
And do you have an approximate value of that Luling real estate?
I do not. I would have to ask my aunt about that.
So total value, would you say it's under or over $50,000?
Over, probably slightly.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So I am going to set bond on the independent administration in the amount of $500. All right, then I think that's everything for this case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for seeing us, Judge.
You may. You are all excused. Have a good day.
You too. Bye now.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, how do I?
before it gets good.
All right, I think we have everyone assembled. Is Soraya Bonilla with this case?
Yes, Your Honor, that's my client, Jesse Ayala. He has just a issue with the Zoom. He's using his friend's work lap. There you go. He's updated.
Oh, they changed it. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, and Mr. Ayala, if you will turn on your video or your camera so we can see you. Right now, your screen is blank. Here we go. Okay, excellent. Mr. Ayala, I'm going to take you off mute. Okay. All right. We are on the record on this one also, Tiffany. We are on the record in cause number 21 CPR 036594, the estate of Jesse Ayala Sr. Present on the Zoom are attorney Jeffrey Waters Jr., attorney ad litem Joyce Phoenix, attorney Carrie Graham, and the applicant, Mr. Jesse Ayala. Mr. Waters, oh wait, let me swear in Mr. Ayala. Mr. Ayala, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, Mr. Waters, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, but before we proceed, I just wanted to bring an item to the court's attention. On Friday afternoon, Ms. Graham, who represents the surviving spouse, filed a cross application. And we visited this morning about that, and we're going to try to work something out where we won't need a temporary and can agree on a dependent administrator between the two of us.
Okay, so the motion for temporary administration is being tabled.
For the time being, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and so we are only hearing testimony for the motion for genetic testing. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, and Mr. Ayala is going to testify for that motion, or do you need to do argument before you start his testimony?
No, Your Honor, I was just going to present a few quick questions about the need for it, and I think everyone's in agreement on it.
Okay, excellent. Go ahead, Mr. Waters.
All right, Mr. Ayala, good afternoon. What are you in relation to the decedent Jesse Ayala Sr.? What was your relationship?
I am his son.
Or his son, okay. And you have filed an application to determine heirs, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and in the application, we have listed yourself, your siblings, and all four of you are born of the same father and mother, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And as we have listed a fifth heir, Brenda Rajan, do you believe she was born of your father?
I do.
Okay. But she was not born of any marriage that your father had, is that correct?
No.
Okay. So there's no definitive proof one way or the other regarding the paternity of your father, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you've spoken with Ms. Rajan and she's in agreement with undergoing DNA testing, is that correct?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Mr. Ayala, we also listed in the motion for genetic testing, but not an application, another potential heir, Isis Rivas. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, it's your understanding that she is not your father's child, but some people have made that claim. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And you've spoken with Ms. Rivas, and she is also amenable to DNA testing.
Yes, that's correct.
And Mr. Ayala, those are the only universe of heirs, the potential heirs that you know about. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. No further testimony, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Phoenix, as the attorney ad litem, do you have any questions of this witness for this particular motion? No. Ms. Phoenix? Oh, hold on, you're on mute.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Mr. Ayala, I have just a couple of questions.
Okay.
Mr. Ayala, you believe that, is it Brenda?
Yes.
Is your father's child?
I do believe Brenda is his daughter. Isis is the one that I'm in question of.
And she's not part of the family, right?
What do you mean by that? Like,
She's not one of the siblings.
Isis, I mean, I've been told that she is, but I never had absolute 100% confirmation.
Was she raised with the other family members?
No, we don't really have a relationship with her. We saw her when we were much younger as kids. We saw her around a couple of times. My dad brought her around, and we were told that she was her sister. But then she went away after that. We never really saw her again till recently.
And when you said until recently, did she start to come around again on her own, or?
I think she's made contact with that side of the family, my aunts and my cousins. I think she's been keeping somewhat of contact with them, but with me and my siblings, no.
Okay, so she is someone that you would like to have tested also?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Okay. And Ms. Graham, I don't know if you have any questions or if you even have any. Okay. I didn't think
Your
so.
Honor, thank you.
Okay. All right. Mr. Waters, anything further?
No, Your Honor. We haven't submitted a proposed order yet. I did want to visit with you if the court had a laboratory that y'all worked with or preferred to use.
Can we use national screening? That's who I usually use, and they're very efficient. And you can have the order, if you'll ask add in your order that the results should be emailed to all counsel of record, so Ms. Phoenix, myself, and you, and also to the court, but confidentially through the court coordinator so that Judge Wallace can see it without it being public record, since it's got some HIPAA stuff in it.
Right.
If Her Honor agrees, I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, well, I'm not even going to say at first when he was like laboratory, I was like, wait, laboratory? I was thinking in terms of like e-filing. And so that's why I was like, what is he doing? So I'm glad you piped in, Ms. Graham, because otherwise I was going to be like, why do you want a laboratory? Okay. Now, after Ms. Graham spoke, that makes complete and total sense. Yes. And so, yeah, that's the company that Ms. Graham cited is fine because I don't have a preferred laboratory. So that one that's fine.
Very good. We'll submit a proposed order to that effect, Your Honor.
Okay. And when you submit that order, just alert us and let us know that you filed it so that I can get it signed so they can start the testing right away.
Okay. Will do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that all? There's nothing else because we're not taking up the temporary administration. We're going to give you guys some time on that, right?
Correct, Your Honor. We're going to see if we can't work out an agreement and save everyone a bunch of time and trouble on this.
I like agreements.
Why?
And Mr. Waters, do you mind? I know it can't be an agreed order, but do you mind if I take a look at it? Because I do have some language that national screening likes. If you don't mind, I'll help with that.
Sure, absolutely. We'll do.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, then you are all excused. Have a wonderful day. I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
All right.
Thank you,
Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.